this evening on events in the central city of Dnipro in Ukraine. A missile has struck a multi-storey residential building, injuring 3 people. Those are the early reports. So you can see here the pictures from the aftermath of the incident. This is from local media. President Volodymyr Zelensky has described the incident as Russian missile terror. Oksana, our reporter in the newsroom, Oksana Kondarenko, is watching this for us. Before we talk about the building, because you gave us some information about that just about 20 minutes ago, what sort of reaction are we getting from President Zelensky?
President Zelensky has used very strong language to the Russian side, and just to tell you, he said that they will be taken to an account to this terror, missile terror, as he called it, as you mentioned. And this is quite unprecedented because President Zelensky himself has published the video from the Dnipro attack site, and normally Ukrainian authorities are being very, very cautious and careful about these things. They ask people not to report, they ask eyewitnesses not to publish anything on social media, and the fact that President Zelensky himself has published it, it means that it is a big deal. And currently he is talking to all the local authorities and taking situation under his personal control.
Okay, I'm just seeing some new copy here this is from BBC Monitoring. Oksana, thank you for that. 5 people found to have been injured in that strike after all the flats in the building were checked. That's according to the Interior Ministry. The casualties included 4 men aged between 18 and 53 and a 77-year-old woman, all of them getting medical attention without being admitted to hospital. One of the advantages, I suppose, if there is an advantage, is that this building was largely empty, I think. Let's speak to someone called Shahida Yakub. She's from Dnipro. She witnessed the attack. Shahida, it's good of you to join us. I was just saying, I get the impression, just looking at the pictures, that some of these apartments were empty. Is that correct?
Some of the apartments do seem empty, but it's hard to say because it's Friday night. Obviously, some people were out. But when I was speaking to the bystanders and a lot of people, new people who lived in the newly built apartments, they said that there were people inside. Just mind you that there are like residential blocks. There are 3 blocks, and there were families there. So families with kids were inside, probably. But because of Friday night, a lot of people might have been out. So that's one of the things which we discussed.
What is truly shocking about this, Shahida, is the recklessness and the sort of the lack of care for anybody, any residents in the city, and it probably tells us that actually the Russians really don't care where they're firing these missiles, and they don't have missiles that are accurate. What's it like living under that sort of terror at the moment? Do you always run to the shelters, or does it just become too much to keep going to the shelters every day?
I'm actually not from here. I just came here. I'm making a documentary film, and I just arrived here today, and I was walking on the street, on the same street where the attack happened, and I basically missed it by 2 minutes. It was a huge 2 bangs, really loud, and then a smoke, and then it was obvious something happened. The one thing I can say to you is that there's nothing safe here in Ukraine, anywhere in Ukraine, travel across the country every day. So we thought that Dnipro is more or less safe because tomorrow we have to go somewhere else, but hey, no. About the recklessness of the attack, just opposite those residential blocks, there is a building of Ukrainian Secret Service, which is, from my conversation with a local resident, was empty for months. And Russians targeted, obviously, that building and a nearby building. Recklessness, yes, but we've seen this already in Ukraine over and over again. The residential houses and apartment blocks are being hit. So you never know where it's going to land. Like, I was walking on the street just to get to the shop, and there were bangs, and the next thing we think, smoke and a fire.
Yeah. Two incoming bombs. I've only got a minute left, Shahida, but is there no air protection in Dnipro? No anti-aircraft missiles there?
Well, the problem with this particular attack, there was no siren before the attack. I think the Russians were using something, a ballistic, I'm not a weapons expert, but something which the anti-aircraft defense couldn't notice before it happened, because there were two strikes and then 2 minutes later we had the siren. So I think that the anti-aircraft defense system didn't notice those missiles.
Right.
That is the problem.
Shahida Yakub in Dnipro, thank you for coming up and explaining to us what happened this evening. 5 people injured in that strike on a multi-storey building in Dnipro. The President Vladimir Zelensky has called it Russian missile terror. We'll keep you updated on developments in Dnipro. Do stay with us.